Now, another problem that I heard about was that when you are presenting something, and I'm using grid view, for example, which you can't see right now because it's just me in here. But if I'm using grid view and I go to present and I'm presenting my whole screen, then the problem with this is that when you're presenting something, it says this, right? Now when I'm using grid view, I will see this in addition to seeing everybody else that is in the chat. But when I go to present something, if I go to a different screen and is presenting this now, for example, the problem with that is that you're not going to be able to see your students while you're presenting something. So with Vero's help, we worked through this. But one way that you can make that a little bit easier to do and to see your students in addition to what you are presenting is to use split screen. So the way that we do that, normally when you press present, like you want to show your students something, a document or a presentation, whatever it might be, when you press present, you press the entire screen. But if you press a window instead, then what you can do is present just the window of the item that you want to show them, and split screen it so that your video is on one side of your screen where you can see all of your students, see your class, and the window on the other side of your screen where you can see what you're presenting as well. So to show you how that works, the first thing I need to do is make sure that what I want to show students is in a separate window. So what I want to do is take my Meet and drag it off of this, from this window, so I'm dragging this tab, and I want to put it in the side of my screen. And you'll notice when I do that, I see to have that line appear down the middle of my screen. That's showing me how I'm going to split screen this. So if I take this and I drag it all the way to the right, sometimes it doesn't work, so you need to do it again. Drag it all the way to the right, you'll see that it stays here. So then I can select out of the windows that I still have open which one I want to take up the other side of my screen. So let's say that this is what I want to look at, or this is what I want to show students and be able to see myself, while at the same time being able to see the students. So now that I'm split screened, what I can do is when I press present, I can press a window. And when I press this, I'm going to have a bunch of different options here of the things that I still have open in my computer. And you can see that this is what I am wanting to present to the students, the thing that I have on the left side of my screen. So I select that. And now it's going to say that I'm presenting over here. But if I have grid view enabled, it doesn't matter because it's going to say that I'm presenting to everyone, but this would be a small window in the side and I would see all of my students at the same time as presenting them something, and they would see what's over here. And that can be very useful during these live sessions because then you can still use something like having students raise their hands, having students do these little quick reactions, and still being able to view the chat and view the students while you're presenting something to them. So I can show anything when I'm presenting a window. I can show anything that I have in any of these tabs for this window. So if I were to do this, they're still going to see calendar, or I can show them my classroom. I can navigate anything that is on this window. And one other thing that Vero and I discovered was that when you were showing a presentation, if you press the presentation button, that's going to take up that entire screen. So if you wanted to show students the presentation, what you need to do is to the right-hand side of this, there's this little drop-down arrow. If I click on that and I click Presenter View, I'm going to get this little countdown window that shows up, but I don't need that. And if you had notes, they would be here. But I'm going to minimize this little window, and now I'm presenting, but just on this side of the screen, in this window. And students will be able to see, you can go use your arrows, you can go right and left, you can use all these things that are down at the bottom, all the normal tools that you could use in the presentation, and explain things to them and move slide by slide, and they would be following along with you. And so that's a really useful tool, and I've been using that a lot with students because normally when I have a live session with them, I'm showing them different stuff in my classroom or explaining different things that they need to do in a particular document, and so it's really helpful to have this split screened when you're talking to them.